Operator, can you please connect me with OTR Halloween Holidays? I don't want to miss this episode of the Ghoulie Show.
Suspense. The hushed voice and the prowling step in the dead of night. The crime that is almost committed. The stir of nerves at the ticking of the clock. The rescue that might be too late, or the murderer who might get away. Mystery and intrigue and dangerous adventure. We invite you to enjoy stories that keep you in suspense.
For Suspense, tonight we present The Body Snatchers by John Dixon Carr.
Beware of the body snatcher who prowls after dark. Beware of the graves he robs. Beware of the murders he commits to provide new corpses for the doctors.
Up to the year 1832, the body snatchers terrorized England. According to the law, only 4 bodies a year could legally be supplied to the surgeons for anatomical study. And even these were a monopoly granted to the Barbers and Surgeons Company of London. But the study of surgery had to go on. In hundreds of medical schools all over England, perfectly reputable doctors were compelled to buy bodies and ask no questions. In 1828, burst the scandal of Burke and Hare, who found grave robbing too slow and murdered 16 persons in order to supply Dr. Knox of Edinburgh. And so, out of basic good purpose, sprang the evil of
the body snatcher.
Turn back the clock now to a cold night just 110 years ago. Look into the brick kitchen of a house on Wandsworth Common, not far from London. There, in the light of a tallow dip, sits old Mother Slade in her draggled bonnet.
What's a keeping 'em? 2 hours. 2 mortal hours by the Dutch clock. And they're not here yet.
Mother Slade?
The graveyard not half a mile off. And once I thought I heard church bells ring. And once...
Mother Slade, did you call?
No, my girl, I did not call.
But I thought I
And
heard...
what are you doing up at this hour, my girl?
I was only locking up, Mother Slade.
Ain't it enough to have taken you over from a good-for-nothing mother not worth the gunpowder to blow her up?
Please, Mother Slade.
And given you a good home and brought you up practically like a lady with only the housework to do?
I'm sorry, Mother Slade. Only I wish you wouldn't talk like that about me own mother.
And what do you do, Peggy Lester? You stop up until this hour. You mislay me snuff box 20 times a day.
I was only going to say, I thought I heard a horse and cart in the lane.
In our lane?
Yes, Mother Slade. There it is now.
Yes. Easy, my dears. Drive easy with the merchandise. The doctors don't like it if you bump the merchandise.
Merchandise, Mother Slade? What's that?
I'll tell you what it is, my girl.
I didn't mean anything, Mother Slade.
It's your Uncle Matt and your cousin Rob are coming home from their business. That's what it is. You hear that, Peggy Lister?
I didn't mislay your snuff box. It's on the table.
And if you don't want me to take my fingernails to you instead of a strap, you get on up to bed this minute, do you?
Yes, Mother Slade.
I'm a-coming, my dears. Don't be impatient. I'm a-coming. Nasty dim light this candle gives. Oh, Mother Slade has got the rheumatics so cruel she can hardly move. Just pull back the bar, open the door. Well, Matt, did you get it?
Did we get it? Strike me blind, but that's a good one, ain't it, Rob?
Stow the gab, can't you? Get inside and close the door.
They ain't after you.
Ain't they? Can't you hear anything?
I thought I heard church bells.
More like a perishing funeral bell, if you asks me.
Take it easy, Rob. Take it easy. We've shaken them off.
Have we? I wish I was as certain as some people. The spades and sack is still in the cart.
Let 'em stay. Who's a-coming to find 'em?
Then you didn't get it after all, you six-cow pair.
Now, don't you start a-blaming us.
Now, you shut your potato trap, Mother Slade, or Matt'll make you shut it.
What happened?
I'll tell you what happened. We was too quick, that's what. The girl was only buried this afternoon.
The sooner the better, my dear. What's the good of the merchandise if it ain't fresh, eh?
You hold your noise and listen. We left the horse and cart outside, like we always do. We creeps up to the lich gate of the churchyard.
Walk softly, Matt. Walk softly, Rob, in your oily beaver hats and neckcloths, under the starlight and the white frosted elms. Take care of the graves, too. Spring guns may be set in some of them to protect the dead from marauders. And if the coffin is one of those new iron ones, all your labor will be in vain. Open the gates softly.
Don't make such a bloody row with them shovels.
I can't help it. I'm loaded down with all this stuff.
Oh, and who'll do all the work when we do get there? I will.
Matt,
Aye?
listen.
I can't hear nothing except your teeth are chattering.
Matt, there's other people besides us in this here churchyard.
Aye, 200 or 300 deaders. But they won't bother us.
I means living people.
Don't talk soft.
Somebody's got a dark lantern. I seen it flash past the gravestones.
Oh? Where?
Can't you see it now? It's a-coming straight toward us.
Yes, I see him. Come on.
They've seen us, Matt.
Easy does it, Rob. Down behind the gravestones. Crouch down. They can't shoot through stone.
Matt, it says here, sacred to the memory
It's
of...
the girl's relatives. They've been watching her grave.
Oh, Struth.
If only I had me barkers. First time in 2 years I've gone without a brace of pistols, and this happens.
But you ain't got your barkers, Matt Patterson.
I got what's just as good. Give me a shovel.
What are you going to do?
Charge 'em. This here shovel's got a nice edge.
Oh, you daft.
They'll have to take time out to reload, won't they? Hear that? Somebody started the bell. That'll bring down every peeler within a mile. If you want a tithing ticket and a neck in a rope, stop where you are. But if you don't want to get scragged before your time, follow me. That's all there is to it, Mother Slade. We went out by the gate, and blow me if they could stop us.
You perishing numbskulls. Did they recognize you?
No, we had our neckerchiefs around our eyes.
And did you do it?
I don't know. There's blood on the shovel.
No, there ain't, Mother Slade. I wiped it off.
Anyway, we're here. What I want now is a Christian fire to sit by, and a drop of spirits to warm my stomach.
There's no spirits in the house, Matt Patterson.
Don't you lie to me, you ugly mouth.
Let go me hand, Matt Patterson. I'm warning
You better
you.
let it go, Matt.
There's no spirits. Only half a loaf of bread. Don't I know it? I haven't tasted a drop of gin all day. And the black dog's on me back.
Well?
Hark at what I say. The doctor was promised a corpse tonight. All right, dearie, he gets a corpse tonight.
Oh, there's that funeral bell again.
What's the clock, old hag? Come on, spit it out.
A nice young corpse without any trouble or bother.
Aye?
What about young Peggy upstairs?
Strike me blind.
What about it, eh?
You'd have to be mighty careful.
Why?
You'd have to smother her with a pillow while I sit on her legs. That's what Burke and Hare done up in Edinburgh. Then you don't leave any marks on them. See?
You're off a tick. Wait. What?
If the doctors see they've been polished off, just plain murdered, they won't have nothing to do with it. Leastways, they don't like it.
Like it or not, dearie, they all do.
Who's buying the beef tonight?
Dr. George Arnold.
Him? The young fella out Fulham way?
That's the man, dearie.
But I thought he was too pious and holy to play.
That's what Dr. Arnold thought, too, till they started putting the screws on him at Bart's College. No corp, they said to him, no lecture. No lecture, no students. It all comes to it, dearie, sooner or later.
What beats me is why they got to have these bodies. You'd think the doctors killed enough people as it is, without buying them after they was dead.
Don't you question the ways of Providence, Matt Pedersen.
You can't do it, Matt. You can't do it, Mother Slade.
You stow that noise, Bob Prentice.
Do you want to wake the poor girl upstairs?
But you can't do it. This cove Arnold, he knows her.
Arnold knows who.
He knows Peggy. Peggy fair worships the ground he walks on.
Oh.
He set her arm once when Mother Slade broke it, accidental-like, and she can't forget him. What's Arnold going to think when he opens up the sack and he finds
What
his...
can Arnold do? He's bought her, ain't he? He can't go to the police and say he's bought her.
Peggy. Peggy Lester.
Don't do it, Mother Slade. Don't do it.
And how do you two thickheads know what Mother Slade is going to do?
You're going to kill her, ain't you?
Peggy. Peggy Lester.
I thought I heard her moving about upstairs.
You did, Mr. Milk and Water. She's on the stairs now.
Rob, you're the least to be depended on. Go out and fetch in the sack.
Don't do it. It'll bring us all bad luck.
Matt, you're a lad after me own heart. You stop where you are and do just as I tell you. Trim the candle. Let's have it all nice and snug.
What'll she bring, do you think?
15 guineas. Maybe 20. Maybe more.
20 guineas? Strike me blind. But this is a way of doing business that I like.
Listen. Did you call me Mother Slade?
That's right, my ducky. That's right, my little pet. Put your wrap around you and your slippers to keep your feet warm and come right down here to Mother Slade.
I'm coming, Mother Slade. I'm coming.
Who in those times would be a surgeon and still be an honest man? At that drugged hour of the night, look into the sitting room of a spacious house. Many candles are still alight there, though they have burned down nearly to their silver sockets. There is Chinese paper on the walls and a turkey carpet underfoot. In front of the fire, now almost out, sits Dr. George Arnold with his bottle green coat and heavy hair.
Dr. Arnold, sir.
I beg your pardon, Mrs. Tancred.
Dr. Arnold, sir. It's gone 2 o'clock.
Yes, so it has.
You've got a lecture to deliver tomorrow, and you'll be all worn out. Why don't you go on up to bed?
Mrs. Tancred.
Yes, sir?
You're a jewel of a housekeeper. I admire you, and I can't do without you, but would you please go away and let me alone?
Sure, I'm very sorry, sir. No offense intended.
Stop. I shouldn't have said that. I'm thinking too much, perhaps.
And smoking too many cigars, if you'll excuse me.
Why must they keep tolling that bell at East Hill Church? Why must they keep it up all night?
Well, sir, Elsie says the parson told them to do it. Elsie.
Wait. Who is Elsie?
Dr. Arnold, sir. I know you're always up in the clouds, mooning over books and whatnot, but I did think you'd recognize the name of your own parlour maid.
Oh, that Elsie. I see. Well?
Elsie says It's because of the murder in the churchyard.
What murder?
2 resurrection men. Body snatchers, sir. Oh, you wouldn't know anything about such people.
No, of course not.
They were caught trying to rob a grave, but they got away. One of them was a horrible big fella. Split Willie Kendrick's head open with the edge of a shovel. Is anything wrong, sir?
No, not exactly.
Well, I thought for a second, seeing how you looked.
Did they get the body?
Yes, sir. It was Willie Kendrick. His head was split open with a shovel.
No, I mean, did these resurrection men get what they were after?
No, sir.
Thank God.
Oh, you may well say that, Doctor.
Well, I wasn't exactly speaking in the religious sense, but never mind.
Well, Elsie says there are what she calls peelers all over the place.
Peelers?
Yes, these new policemen. After Sir Robert Peel. And somebody from the new detective police that they're using instead of the Bow Street runners.
Well, Mrs. Tancred, I'm going to smoke one more cigar, and then I'm going to bed.
Very good, sir.
You see, sometimes you give orders, then it's too late to recall them. Whatever the medical practice is, you can't look your conscience in the face afterwards. Then, I can't tell you how or why, a miracle comes along and saves you, and you're free, What was that?
Sounds like a horse and cart in the drive, sir.
Mrs. Tancred.
Yes, Doctor?
Will you please go upstairs? Now, make haste.
Well, if it's visitors, sir, or even a patient...
Mrs. Tancred, you heard my instructions. Obey them.
Sir, there's the front door
Yes,
bell.
I heard it. For the last time, go away. I will admit whatever visitors we have.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, dearie.
Oh, come into the sitting room here, Mrs. Slade.
La, sir. Just call me Mother Slade. You don't hardly seem natural or friendly to hear anything else. It's a pleasure to curtsy to you, Doctor. Coo. What a lovely room.
I suppose...
Your candles is going out, though. One by one. Poof. Then you'll be in the dark.
I suppose you've come to report failure.
Failure, dearie?
I understand you didn't get what you went after.
Bless you, dearie. We got something just as good. Finest piece of merchandise you ever saw.
You haven't got it here.
Bless you, dearie. Mother Slade always keeps her word. Bring the merchandise in, my dears, so the doctor can see it.
Quiet, please.
Oh, of course, dearie, I forgot.
Thank you, sir.
The big fellow with the black eyebrows is Uncle Matt. The little fellow with the watery eyes is Cousin Rob. And between them, in that sack, they're carrying...
Well, who is it in the sack?
19-year-old girl, dearie. Finest anatomical specimen you ever saw.
Merciful
Where do
heavens.
you want this here thing dumped, Governor?
Easy now, Matt.
Why did you bring it here?
That's where you told us to bring it, dearie.
I mean, why did you bring it to the front door? Why not to the surgery?
Only place in the house where there was lights, Governor. Hurry up now. Where do you want it?
Well, take it
Yes, dearie?
over and put it in the cupboard there, where I'm pointing.
This cupboard here, sir.
Yes, then close the cupboard door.
Shame on you two. Tracking your muddy boots over the doctor's lovely turkey carpet. Easy, my dears, easy now.
All right, Robin.
Don't bruise the merchandise. Whatever you do, don't bruise the merchandise.
Right, me blind. What's the odds? She can't feel it now. There's your body, Mr. Sawbones. Now, let's see your money.
Well, just one moment before I give it to you.
There ain't no itch in this, is there? Better not be.
No, I made a bargain with you, and I'll stick to it.
Thank ye. That's uncommon genteel of you.
Kindly stand back, sir. You're 2 stone of fat heavier than I am, and you don't impress me.
Easy, Matt. Take it easy.
I want to ask only one question. Where did you get that body?
That's a question, dearie, what people in your profession don't ask.
Why not?
'Cause they don't dare. That's why.
Would the police be interested in where you got the body?
No, dearie. Not half so interested in as where we brought it. To your house. It's your responsibility now.
Yes, I suppose it is. The victim wouldn't be, by any chance, that pretty little girl you used to treat so unmercifully?
You hold your noise about how I treated her.
I was rather fond of Peggy.
Strike me blind. I think the sawbones...
Oh, get out of this house, all of you. Go on, get out.
Not without that money, dearie. It's 20 guineas now.
There's money on the table under that newspaper. Take what you want, and get out of here before I...
Oh, what was that?
Aye. What was it?
A late visitor, I imagine.
Was you expecting anybody? Eh?
No.
Don't drop the lovely money, Rob. Don't drop it all over the carpet. Pick it up.
Is the back way of these?
Yes, it's the way you should have come. Through that arch and down the passage.
Thank you for the honour, Governor. And no games, mind you, if you know what's good for you.
Good night, dearie. Remember, you've got the body now.
Yes. I've got the body now. Poor little devil.
Dr. Arnold, sir.
In heaven's name, Mrs. Tancred, haven't you gone to bed yet?
I had to get up, sir, to answer the bell.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry.
Dr. Arnold, what's the matter with you?
Matter?
You're as white as a ghost, and you're almost crying.
Am I? Well, we must remedy that.
Oh, it's so dark in here, I could barely see you sitting there. The candles going out, one after another. Nothing but smoke and an ugly smell of grease, and that cupboard door.
What about that cupboard door?
Oh, I always declare, sir, it won't keep shut without any latch or bolt, if you'll excuse the liberty.
Mrs. Tancred, keep away from that cupboard.
Dr. Arnold, sir. Are you ill or anything?
No, but keep away from that cupboard. Who rang the bell?
Oh, dear, I was almost forgetting. It's that man Elsie was talking to us about.
What man?
The officer of the detective police, sir. He wants to see you.
Well, I'll see him, but in some other room, not here. It's as you say, there's not enough light.
Not a bit of it, Doctor, not a bit of it. Never too dark, as you might say, where the police are concerned.
I couldn't help it, sir. He must have followed me down the hall.
Are you...
That's right, Doctor. I'm Stalker at your service. Inspector Stalker.
Well, how do you do, Inspector? Mrs. Tancred, you may go.
By your leave, sir. I'll just get some more candles and put them in that bracket by the cupboard. It's not in use.
No, you needn't trouble.
It's no trouble, sir. Excuse me.
First of all, Doctor, I must apologize for intruding as late as this.
Not at all, Inspector. Will you be seated?
Thank you, sir. Thank you kindly. Now, I dare say you're wondering why I'm here.
Oh, yes, I am, rather.
It's a bad business, Doctor. A very bad business.
You mean the murder in the churchyard?
Oh, you've heard about it.
Well, my housekeeper said something about a man being killed with a shovel.
That's right, Doctor. Not much doubt about who did that.
No?
No, the little fella dropped his dark lantern with the initials on it. They're professional body snatchers. We've had our eye on them for a long time. Speaking of body snatchers, Doctor...
Well?
I expect this anatomy law is pretty hard on you surgeons.
It's an infamous law, sir.
All the same, Doctor, it is the law.
Yes.
And if any surgeon happened to be caught with a body, especially a murdered body...
What are you hinting at?
Oh, nothing, Doctor, nothing. By your leave, I only want to ask a question.
Well?
What time did your friends leave? Now, come, Doctor. As one man of the world to another, do you see any green in my eye? You're not going to say you had no guests when their horse and cart are still at your front door.
They didn't get away.
No, Doctor, they didn't. They made a little reception committee as they left by the back door. Darbies on the wrists. Snap. Just as I might reach out and touch your wrist. Like this.
What do you mean by darbies?
Handcuffs. I've got a pair in my pocket. Gags into their mouths. That's to keep them from biting.
Look, do we have to go on with this? You already seem to know everything I could tell you.
Not exactly everything. I don't know, for instance, where you've hidden the girl's body.
You're a very diligent man, Inspector Stalker.
Thank you, sir. I try to do my duty.
You said a girl?
These gin-muddled degenerates have been watched every second since they left East Hill Churchyard. They hadn't a body then, but they brought one here. And there's only one other person who lives in the same house with them.
Dr. Arnold, sir.
Mrs. Tancred, listen to me.
Yes, sir.
Must you always break in with the most completely ill-timed entrances at all the worst period of my life?
Oh, was only trying to be helpful, sir.
That's right, madam. Always be helpful.
You had to have some light. Here's the candles, sir. 5 of them, in a big candelabrum. We can hang them in the bracket.
Ma'am, hold up that light. Hold it high.
Really, sir? I'm not in the habit of being spoken to as
Hold it high, I tell you.
Do as the inspector tells you, Mrs. Tancred.
This is a very fine carpet you've got here, Doctor.
Yes, others have admired it tonight.
But it oughtn't to have footprints on it. Muddy footprints. Footprints leading from the door, past the sofa, past the hearth, over
To that cupboard. Quite correct.
I think that's done it, Dr. Arnold.
I think it has, Inspector Stalker.
We couldn't have proved anything against you for that churchyard business, but this...
Let me open Bluebeard's cupboard, Inspector. Let me be the first to show you what's inside. You wanted a certain body. It appears you've come to the right place. Now, look.
Lord Almighty.
I'm the body, Mr. Police. Standing up, I'm very much alive. And I'm wearing a nice new dress that the doctor gave me.
But I gave you.
Don't say anything. Please don't say anything.
Stop a bit, miss. Aren't you Peggy Lester?
Yes. Just because the doctor has to be so terribly respectable, and a girl who's fond of him has to come here in secret.
Wait a minute, everybody. Peggy Lester, you're lying.
I am not lying.
So that's it. Why didn't I guess it? It's the oldest body snatcher's trick in the world.
Is it?
Of course, the old pinch penny like Mother Slade couldn't sacrifice a good household grudge. Of course they brought the body here, instead of taking it to the surgery, where it might get locked up.
Could you be persuaded, Inspector, to tell us just what you're talking about?
The body snatcher, sir.
Well, what about them?
They take a living accomplice and put him into a sack and sell him to a green doctor as a dead man.
Yes, but see here,
They get the best price they can. Then in the middle of the night, that accomplice gets up and robs the doctor's house. And the doctor can't tell us because he's bought illegal goods.
I never intended to go through with it.
No, young woman?
I tell you, I wasn't going to rob the house. They made me do this. I was going to tell Dr. Arnold. When I found out where they were taking me, I pretended to go through with it so I could warn the doctor. They can hurt so much, you'll agree to almost anything.
Oh, that sounds like the truth, but it puts me in a funny position and no mistake.
well, your 3 murderers, Inspector, seem to be leaving.
Yes, they're leaving right enough. Trussed up like fowls and under guard.
Does anybody go with them?
Well, how can anybody go with them? I'm willing to believe this girl acted under threats. She's committed no crime. And I don't for the life of me see how we can touch you.
Can't touch me?
No, sir. And confound you for making me lose a night's sleep. There's no body. You didn't even buy a body. Will you tell me, Doctor, just what crime you've committed?
And so ends The Body Snatchers, a story of London at midnight, 100 years ago. And tonight's story of Suspense. Columbia presents these tales of mystery and intrigue and dangerous adventure for your relaxation and enjoyment. Next Tuesday, there will be another in this series. Same hour, 9:30 Eastern Wartime. William Spear, the producer, John Dietz, the director, Alexander Semler, the composer, conductor, and John Dixon Carr, the author, are collaborators on Suspense.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
It's intermission time at the Ghoulie Show. time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for some hot popcorn? How's about your favorite soft drinks, which are sparkling cold? And there's all kinds of candy to tempt you. It's radio time, folks. Enjoy the rest of the program. Hope you're enjoying today's radio program. When it's done, be sure to check out our channel over at Watchwaddle. Enjoy some tunes with a nice cold soda. Hope you're enjoying today's Baba Ghoulie show by OTR Halloween Holidays. And remember, if your radio has a record player, check out Watchwaddle's Greatest Hits. Nothing like some good old-fashioned spoofs and gags. Available on 16-speed record. Each one comes with a 45 adapter.
Distance as dark locks in. Nightfall. Good evening. Tonight's play is a new adaptation of the classic short story by Robert Louis Stevenson, the original Body Snatchers.
Down the close and up the stair, Bud and Ben with Burke and Hare. Burke's the butcher, Hare's the thief, Knock's the man that buys the beef. It is 30 years since I last saw that kind of beef, lying still, oh, so still on its slab. But the rain brings back the sights. 30 years since I was a student of medicine in the schools of Edinburgh. The greatest ornament of all the town was a certain professor of anatomy, a Dr. Knox. You'll call his name to mind, perhaps. When all was done and known, the very children cried it in the streets. And he, God help me, he picked me for a likely lad.
A very pretty dissection, Mr. Fettis. It's a rare delight when a student can not only find the brain, but has one.
Thank you, sir. I cannot tell you what an honor it is.
Oil of clothes is for the toothache, Mr. Fettis. You may spare me your compliments. I have decided to appoint you second demonstrator, which is to say sub-assistant for the anatomy class.
Well, thank you, sir.
You'll be responsible to Mr. Wolf McFarlane here, our demonstrator. The two of you are acquainted, I believe.
We shall know each other better, sir. Congratulations, Fettis. Thank you, McFarlane. I swear I'll give you no cause for regret, Dr. Knox.
You'll be moving your lodgings, Mr. Fettis, to nearby here at the close. We sometimes have night business, and you'll need to watch sharp for the call.
Night business, sir.
Come now, Mr. Fetters. You know as well as I do that our only legal cadavers come to us from the public hangman. Be he never so busy, he couldn't supply the half of our needs. But there are always the poor. But ask no more questions for conscience' sake. MacFarlane, instruct your assistant.
Yes, sir.
You'll move here tonight, Fetters, and remember...
Sir?
Be ready for visitors.
Visitors. Did you hear old Knox say visitors in the night? And I not ready for them, does he think?
He'll be as ready for them as ever you were for a wench, Fetters.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, observe.
Our fair serving maid, the succulent Jane Galbraith.
Oh, Jane. Everybody's Jane. Observe Miss Galbraith as she negotiates her way among the tables laden with tankards and bottles.
I observe a fine behind her.
Imprecise, lad, imprecise. You actually observe the relation of her gluteus maximus muscles to her sacrum and coccygeal bones. How is the latter shift vertically?
Yeah, the former flex and bounce horizontally.
Bravo, laddie. You have observed how Latin may decorate a tart, eh? Take your degree. Oh, take your degree.
Oh, Louis, Curtis. Oh, what are you doing with such black company as MacFarlane there? One look at his viper eye, and I feel somebody's footsteps walking on my very grave.
Well, I'd rather walk to a warmer place for laying you down, Jane.
Come be sexton in my churchyard when you will.
Well, all right, yeah, I'll do that.
Resurrection men.
What you saying?
Grave robbers. You know, Fetters, our Lord's remains would be precious little use to us.
What are you saying, man?
Aye, man. Those remains were only available on the third day.
MacFarlane, has it ever occurred to you that God might strike you dead in the street?
But God and his angels slept. And so did I. Until one night, in the blackest dark before the dawn, the promised visitors arrived at last.
Good morning, Your Honor. Dr. Fetters, is it?
Mr. Fetters, since you know my name, you must know I'm only a student. Well, get in here, both of you, and what you have with you.
My friend here, sir, my living friend, is Mr. Burke.
Your Honor's servant.
No servant of mine.
And I'm Mr. Hare, sir. My other friend, the silent one here, was poor old Sally. Your Honor will be wanting her unwrapped, of course, before you be naming a price. Mr. Burke, the fixings, if you please.
Right.
My God. She still stinks of gin.
She died with her last glass still in her hand, God bless her, and all the world a rose of light. Sure, God is kind to his poor, sir.
She's fresh. How much?
Fresh, did you say? She's still warm.
A poor old soul we gave a bed to, sir, to keep her from the streets. She was took of a sudden in the night.
Yeah, we keep a lodge in the
I can do without your explanations. £7.10.
For such a fine, fresh cadaver, Your Honor. Surely now.
Take the money or go whistle for it. I don't bargain with resurrection men.
That's a hurtful name to be saying, sir. And it's blasphemy, too.
Mr. MacFarlane was giving us £1 a pound when 'twas fresh like this. She's worth more than you're offering.
£7.10.
Well, seeing as you're new, sir, we take the offer.
Good. Here, then. Burke, here?
Sir?
Are you, then, butchers that you price your meat so nicely?
Oh, why, sir, 'tis you that's the butchers. I beg your pardon. Sure, we only delivered the meat.
Tis you that slices it up. I barred and bolted the street door behind them. And then I went and was sick below the stairs. My accommodation itself was lofty and spacious, but as the weeks went by, the very walls closed in about me, breathing complicity with empty graves. And more. And then, one night...
Merciful God. Oh, merciful God.
You know her. You know her.
Surely not, sir.
That's Jane Galbraith. She was alive and hearty yesterday. It's impossible she can be dead.
Sure, sir, you're mistaken entirely.
I know her, I tell you. And what's wrong with her neck? It's impossible you should have got this body fairly.
Well, now, Mr. Fettis, that's a dangerous accusation to be making. A very dangerous accusation indeed.
We dug her up. 6 feet under she was.
It's you that's so firm they be fresh, Mr. Fettis. A body you ordered, a body you got. A bargain's a bargain. And, you'll notice Mr. Burke is between you and the door.
So best you pay up straight now.
Yeah, very well. Here's your money. Now go.
How much?
£10 now. Get out of here.
There now, Mr. Burke. Wasn't it myself told you he was a real gentleman?
Fettis! Fettis!
And there's Mr. McFarlane wanting you, Mr. Fettis. We'll be off now. The world and his wife will be up and about any minute.
Fettis, Dr. Knox wants that preparation of spirits of alcohol ready for the morning class. Did I hear the street door close?
It was a night delivery.
Good. And now, as for this morning's class...
McFarlane, look at her face.
No, are you not? Oh, I see. Jane Galbraith.
You take it very coolly.
Well, should I not?
There's a mark on the base of the neck. Look.
Second cervical vertebra, shattered. Aye, it looks fishy.
Well, what do I do?
Do? Well, why do you want to do anything? At least said, soon as mended, I should say.
Well, someone might recognize her.
We'll hope not. And if anybody does, well, you didn't, you see, and there's an end.
But there's the law, the police.
Oh. As to that, I should like to know how any of us would look, or what the devil we should have to say for ourselves in any Christian witness box. For me, you know, there's one thing certain. That, practically speaking, all our subjects have been murdered.
McFarlane?
Come now. As if you hadn't suspected it yourself.
Well, suspecting is one thing, but...
And proof another. Aye, I know. And I'm as sorry as you are poor Jane should have come to this. But the next best thing is not to recognize it. And I don't. I think a man of the world would do as I do.
Would he now? And what kind of a world would he be a man of, then?
We Fettis. Why do you suppose Knox chose us two for his assistance? And I answer, because he didn't want old wives.
Old wives! Old wives!
There's my lad. A man of the world must take his humour where he finds it, eh?
God in heaven, who's that?
Quick, cover her up and take hold of your nerves.
Who is it?
It's me, Richardson.
What the hell do you want? You know anatomy class doesn't start for 2 hours yet.
Let him in, man. Let him in.
What?
Little Richardson won't bite. And we are here to help the students.
It's 7 in the morning, Richardson. What do you want?
Well, I want That is, a need.
Speak up, damn you!
A need. A head.
Are you mad?
No. That is. Body. You've got a new body. Oh, wonderful. Here, let me look.
No! Hands off, you bloody fool! Hands off, I say!
Sorry.
Intruding bloody fool.
Now, Fetis. Poor Richardson's just a trifle over-eager, that's all. We must not censure zeal.
I only wanted.
Of course. I'm afraid this head is out of the question, unfortunately. It's already spoken for.
Oh, yes. I see. I do understand.
Richardson, I beg your pardon for losing my temper. I am a man of the world again.
And none too soon. Richardson, I call Fetis here to witness. You shall have our very next head.
I shall.
As I am an honest man.
Oh, Mr. McFarlane, thank you. A head all for myself. My very own head.
In a day, in but one day, Jane Galbraith was disposed of in the usual way. And I hardened my heart and drank a nights as hard as ever I worked by day. In our tavern, there was another girl to serve us. And one night, beside McFarlane, there sat a stranger, a small man, very pale and dark, with coal black eyes. He did not improve upon acquaintance, but he exercised a very remarkable control over McFarlane.
Leave already? But a pup, Toady dear. The night is but a pup. Come along now. Order your friend Fetis here another nip of whiskey. Order up,
Toddy, Gray, don't call me that.
Affection, Toady dear. A mere term of affection.
My name is Wolf McFarlane. Use it.
Isn't he a naughty toddy, Mr. Fetis? Landlord, another rum and water for me and a hot toddy for Mr. McFarland here. And bring him the bill.
Aye, sir.
You use that name again.
Mr. Fetis, give me to say that darling Toddy here has never mentioned me. Never once.
Well, no, sir, not that I recall.
Toddy dear, I'm hurt. Worse than hurt. Offended. After all we've been through together.
Hold your tongue, Gray.
He and I share certain common pleasures, Mr. Fetis. At least I provide, and he enjoys them. Huh?
Shut up, damn you!
Never told you about those, I'll wager, has he, Mr. Fetis? You see, little...
McFarlane, for God's sake, man.
Do not fret yourself, Mr. Fetis. He and I often exchange these little love taps, but he finds them costly. Yeah, Toddykins? Landlord, your lamb and venison dinner with all the trimmings and the best wine in the house. The bill to my purple-faced friend here.
Aye, sir.
Look at him, Mr. Fetis. He hates me, you know. See how my little darling hates me. Have I spoiled your appetite, Toddy?
Why, no, Gray. As a matter of fact, you've just given me one.
By the time we separated, Gray was incapably drunk, and I tottered home myself with devious footsteps, dimly wondering that McFarlane was still cold sober. Next day he was absent from class, and I chuckled to myself. Yes, I actually did that. To think of poor Toddy still squiring the intolerable Gray from tavern to tavern. By evening I was still a wee bit fragile, you see. So I went early to bed and slept the sleep of the just. I'm coming. Damn you, I'm coming. Please, dear Lord, let there be honest earth on this one. McFarlane, you?
Me.
Have you been out alone?
You might say I have. Now stop staring and give me a hand.
Digging up a grave by yourself? How in heaven's name did you manage it?
Never mind, damn you. Up on the slab. Here, I'll get the door.
But where and how did you come by it? I'm as strong as you, but I'd never...
The bolt, you bloody fool!
I was just going to snap it, McFarlane. What the hell's the matter with you?
Oh, I'm sorry, Fettes. My nerves are playing me up. I'm much better now.
Well, you'd best be home to bed then and let me get back to mine.
I think first you'd better look at the face.
Well, why should I do that?
Because you know who it is, dear Fettes. But you'll never sleep until you're absolutely sure now, will you? Look at the face. Look at the face.
Oh, God. Oh, God. God.
You see, Fettes? You did know. You're weeping for such scum as Grey.
To see him naked, in rigor mortis, on a slab. The man I left well clad and full of meat and sin, on the threshold of a tavern.
Fettes. What a bairn ye are, after all. The wee kirk of the heather got its clutches on ye yet. Enough of that. We must to business. See that Richardson has the head. The poor fool will probably kiss you. And talking of business, you must pay me. Your account, remember, must tally.
Pay you? Pay you for that?
Why, yes, of course you must. By all means, and on every possible account you must. I dare not give it for nothing. You dare not take it for nothing. Mr. Grey is the continuation of Miss Galbraith. You can't begin and then stop. If you begin, you must keep on beginning. There's the truth. No rest for the wicked, you see.
My God. What have I done? And when did I begin? To be made a class assistant in the name of reason, where was the harm in that?
My dear fellow, at the first, of course, you staggered. But you're clever. You have pluck. I like you. And Knox likes you. You were born to lead the hunt. I tell you, on my honor, 3 days from now, you'll laugh at these pale scarecrows like a schoolboy at a fuss.
You'd better go home to your bed, Mr. McFarlane. I'll get Grey ready for the students in the morning.
Above all else, Mr. Fettes, the head to little Richardson. Did you see his eyes when I promised it? Do you think anyone will recognize Grey? Not 5 minutes after Richardson's first cut.
Hours passed. The class began to arrive. The pale members of Mr. Grey were dealt out to one and to another, and received without remark. Richardson tasted at last the joys of heaven.
Such a head, Mr. McFarlane. The supraorbital cavity, the occipital...
The pleasure is mine, Richardson. Entirely mine.
On the third day, the dreadful process of disguise was complete. I had outlived my terrors and forgotten my baseness, but the supply of subjects never met the demand. Richardson and all his tribe were insatiable. And so, at last, it came to the point that McFarlane and I must turn resurrection men ourselves. Like vultures on a dying lamb, we came down in rain and darkness on a coffin in the lonely rustic graveyard of Glencourse. The old wife of a farmer, who'd been known for nothing but good butter and a godly conversation, was to be rooted from her grave at midnight and carried, dead and naked, to that faraway city she had always honoured with her Sunday best. The place beside her family was to be empty till the crack of doom. Her innocent and venerable body to be exposed to the last curiosity of the anatomist. Almost there. A little more. Damn it to hell! The lantern's gone out. How are we going to get that corpse up in pitch darkness? To hell with the darkness. The less to see, the better. We don't need light to break her open. Now let's get her out into the carriage. Poor Billy will catch us the other cold in this rain. What the hell's got into the dogs? Never mind the dogs. Get her under the shoulders. I'll take care of the feet. God, she's heavy for... McFarlane, what is it now? This is not the body of a woman. Superstitious fool. Feel it, you can... The chest is flat as any table. Feel the width of the shoulders. I have matches here somewhere. Uncover the face. I'll get a light under my coat. Yeah. Now let's get a good look at the picture. So... There. Against all reason, staring up from the coffin, his cold black eyes fixed on us like a knife in a wound, lay the one face that we now knew could never decompose or be disposed of. The face that would henceforth belong to any corpse we should ever encounter. The mocking face of the dead and long dissected Grey.
It's intermission time at the Baba Ghoulie Show. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar.
Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the lobby and have ourselves a treat.
It's radio time, folks. Enjoy the rest of the program. Hope you're enjoying today's episode of the Baba Ghoulie Show, and don't forget to check out Channel Watchwaddle for some fun cartoons. Enjoy some jokes with a big box of popcorn.
Corny corn popcorn fun for all folks, about as corny as Waddle's jokes.
Arch Oboler's Lights Out, everybody. It is later than you think.
This is Arch Obler bringing you another in our series of stories of the unusual. And once again we caution you, these lights-out stories are definitely not for the timid soul. So we tell you calmly and very sincerely, if you frighten easily, turn off your radio now.
It is a nice day. Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Sparrow. It's as nice a day as I, too, have ever seen. I remember a day like this when I was about 12. Mother took me into London to see the King's Palace. That was Edward. And I had on a green suit, and I... But that wouldn't interest you now, would it, Mr. Sparrow? Funny, I never went back. Less than 100 miles away, and I...
Morning, Mr. Jeffrey.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Elton.
Here, Mr. Jeffrey. Oh, kind of late in the season to be planting now, ain't it?
Oh, I wouldn't exactly say that, Mr. Elkington. Not for what I'm planting.
Now, what would that be, might I be asking?
A tree, my friend.
Oh.
A nice, strong catalpa tree. My son sent it to me all the way from Exeter.
You don't say catalpa tree. Well, now. I say, could I be giving you a hand with that shovel, Mr. Jeffrey?
No, thank you kindly. I like to dig in the soil, and the exercise does me good. Thank you kindly.
Oh, well, then I'll be off on my business, Mr. Jeffrey. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Elkington. Good morning. But it is a good morning. The rain certainly softened you up, didn't they, Mr. Ground? Nice and soft. Nice and soft. Going to dig you a nice, deep hole, Mr. Catalpa. Nice, deep hole, so that your roots will have a good, firm start in life. Yes, indeed. Well... That's not the way to act, Mr. Ground, throwing big boulders in the way of my shovel. Mighty big stone, too, from the sound of it. Dig you up, Mr. Boulder? If it takes me a week, yes, indeed. Big stone, all right. Keep after it, that's all. Buried all these years in the corner of my garden, and I never knew about you now, did I? There, that's showing results. Yeah. Like an oblong. That's queer. Big flat oblong stone in my garden. Dig you up. That's what I'll do. Dig you up. Yes, indeed. Oh, Mrs. Gracie. Mrs. Gracie.
Yes, what is it?
Mrs. Gracie, come out here. You've got to come out.
All right. Now, what in creation is it, Mr. Jeffrey?
Mrs. Gracie, look.
Land sakes alive. What kind of a hole for a tree is that? Don't see why in the world...
Look, I tell you.
Is it a coffin?
Coffin? That size and out of stone? Then what would a coffin be doing in my garden?
I never heard of anyone being buried here. It's much too big.
Mrs. Gracie, I got it.
What?
Roman. The Romans left it here.
Romans?
Don't you understand? The Romans invaded and lived in Britain over 1,500 years ago. They left it here.
Nobody like that lived round here, and don't you tell me anything different, Mr. Jeffrey.
But I am telling you, a Roman sarcophagus.
Now, Mr. Jeffrey.
Oh, never mind. Mr. Robinson, run over and get Mr. Robinson here. Tell him to bring a couple of men. We've got to dig this thing up.
We've got to dig it up? Mr. Jeffrey, it's the sun that struck your head.
Now, don't stand there lecturing me. Mr. Robinson, hurry, get him.
No, I won't.
What?
Not to dig it up, I won't. To bury it deeper, yes, but not to dig it up.
This is...
Coffin or one of them heathen, whatever you call it, it makes no difference.
If it's been buried here all these years, then I say cover it over and let it be. There's some things best left deep under the ground.
All right, men. Are you ready with the ropes?
Ready, Mr. Robinson.
Right you are. How about you, Joe?
All ready, Mr. Robinson.
Good. Now, when I give the signal, 1, 2, 3, you on that side of the rope pull, while you on the other side work on the block and tackle. 1, 2, and up on 3. Have you got it?
Hey, we have it.
Mr. Robinson, you will be careful. I mean not to damage.
Now,
I mean,
look here,
please.
friend Jeffrey. I've been in the building and excavating trade and constable of this township for 20 years.
I know.
And all that time, I've given only one thing, and that's satisfaction.
Yes, sir.
Now, for this little stone container...
Little Judas Priest, man, is 10 foot by 3 and heaven knows how heavy.
Well, true as that may be to my way of thinking, it's still a small job. If you're worried about my damaging it, you're free to call in one of my competitors.
No, Mr. Robinson. I want you to handle the matter. Oh, yes.
All right, then stay clear and I'll give the order.
Wait. If you please, Mr. Robinson, wait.
Yeah?
That housekeeper of mine, Mrs. Gracie, she wouldn't want to miss the doings, and I don't know where she'd gone off to. If
now,
you'd only
Mr.
wait...
Jeffrey, I'm a busy man, so if you'll just stand aside.
No, please.
All right, men. Now, don't pull till I give the signal. 1, 2, 3, up with it. Up. Easy there, Joe. Bring those ropes over the left. Up with it. Up with it. Steady there. Not too fast, you fool. Stand the ship is ready to put on it. Easy now, Joe.
No, don't swing it too high. Not too high. Are you deaf? Not too high, or is it...
No, put it back in the ground. Put it back in the ground, I tell you.
Mrs. Gracie, what in the
Get
world?
out of the way.
Put it back in the ground. In the ground it was, and in the ground it belongs. Mr. Jeffrey, I'm
Get out
warning
of the
you.
way. Jeffrey, get that woman out of
In
the way.
the ground.
Mrs. Gracie, are you crazy?
Crazy old woman, get away. My men can't hold it.
The tackle is slipping. Look out.
Look out! Get on those ropes, fools! Get on those ropes! Lift! Hurry now! Hurry! Get over there!
Mother in heaven. It fell right on top of her.
Get it on!
Coffin fell right on top of her. Oh, Mrs. Gracie.
It's a cruel thing, Mr. Jeffrey. Cruel indeed.
Yes.
Cruel and yet not cruel. For the ways of the divine providence are beyond our poor mortal understanding. Yes, I shall say that very thing over her grave when we bury the poor woman.
As you wish, Reverend.
What a day this has been. More excitement in just a few hours in this village than we've had in a dozen years. I wonder now whether... Almost 9. Well, I better be getting back to the church. Have to get everything ready for the service tomorrow. Did you speak to Mr. Carboy about the coffin?
Yes.
That's good. We'll pay the good lady proper respect, we will. Well, I'll be on my way.
Good night, Reverend.
One thing more, Mr. Jeffrey.
Yes?
I didn't want to speak of it in all the excitement before, but I feel I really should.
Yes, Reverend.
I know you were in quite an emotional state of mind, but do you feel it was quite the proper and respectable thing to do? I mean, having that Roman antique brought right here into the house, when it, inanimate thing though it be, was the direct cause of poor Mrs. Grace's death.
I wanted the sarcophagus in here, Reverend.
Wanted it? But what possible use could that great stone sepulchre be to you? I realize it has certain intrinsic value. After the funeral, we'll get in touch with the proper museum authorities in London and have them take care of it. But don't you see, it wasn't quite respectful of the dead. Bringing the very thing in here that had caused the tragedy. Not respectful at all, Mr. Jeffrey.
It was what I wanted. Good night, Reverend.
But, Mr. Jeffrey, good night. Good night.
Disrespectful. No fault to Mr. Coffin that she ran under it. Call in the proper authorities. I'm proper authority in Roman things myself, I am. Read with old Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, didn't I? I certainly did. Here you are, Mr. Coffin. Just where I made them put you. And I did make them, didn't I? Ran right under you, she did. Superstitious old fool. No fault of yours, Mr. Coffin. You're a big one. Let me see. About 10 feet long on this side and 4 this way. It's a discovery that ought to make history, that it ought. Wait for experts, should I? What would the experts do? Cart you off to one of those museums, and there I'd be, the man that found you, with nothing but a hole in my garden and a new grave in the cemetery to show what had happened. No. I'd be my own expert, Mr. Coffin. I'll open you up myself right now. And I'll take the blame or credit, and no mistake about it. There's that iron bar. Mr. Robinson will wonder where his crowbar went. No, won't he, Mr. Coffin? But we'll give it back to him in the morning. Yes, indeed. Yes. Got you wide open enough to look inside now, haven't I? Experts. I'll show them. The dark. Can't see. Matches. There now. If you don't mind now, Mr. Coffin, I'll bend over to see what you've got inside the... Copy. Got a call. Are you there? Are you there? Reverend, this is Mr. Jeffrey. Yes, Jeffrey. No. Listen to me. That Roman sarcophagus, I just opened it. Inside of it, there's something, a woman, and yet it isn't. I mean, oh, Reverend, come over quickly. You see, whatever it is, I don't think it's dead.
My dear Mr. Jeffrey, you must listen to me. I'm a person of understanding, of judgment. I say leave it alone. Don't go near the thing until they get here. Now, I phoned Dr. Thompson at the British Museum. He's an expert, a qualified expert.
Expert. There you go, experting again. Now, you shove on that side, and I'll pull on with this.
Yes.
There. That ought to fetch the lid off.
It's all against my better judgment.
All right. Off with it. There she goes. Another shove. Open. We've got it open. Reverend, look at her head.
Why, what in Satan's name is it?
Lion's head. That's it, a lion's head.
And the body of a woman.
And alive. She is alive.
Don't be a fool. It's a heathen idol, stone.
No, it's living skin. I'll touch it. I'll prove it. It is stone.
A blasphemous heathen thing. We'll cover it up, and in the morning I'll have it buried again.
No, you won't. It's mine. Found it on my property.
Oh, heaven forgive you. The blood of your poor housekeeper still staining it.
Staining it? What are you talking about?
Mrs. Grace's blood. See, it's still on it.
But the outside of the coffin fell on her. This part was closed.
But it is blood. Fresh blood.
Oh, it can't be out here.
Mr. Jeffrey.
Reverend. That woman. A minute ago I felt cold stone. And now it's warm.
Constable, can't you walk any faster?
Oh, it'll wait, Reverend. Whatever it is, it'll wait.
But I tell you, he acted like a madman. Practically threw me out of the house bodily because I persisted.
Now, wait a minute, Reverend. Begging your pardon, wait a minute. Me, I don't know a thing about this. I'm sleeping as peaceful as a sheep in the fields when you wake me up.
Will you represent the law in this community?
Not begging your pardon, I don't know if there's any representing to do. If you get what I mean.
But I told
yes,
you...
sir, you told me that the coffin that killed poor Mrs. Gracie...
He opened it, I tell you.
And since when is that against the law?
Oh, keep walking, man, keep walking.
Begging your pardon, Reverend, I know when I'm walking.
Now, here's the house. Now, go in there and see for yourself.
And that's just what I'm going to do, sir.
You'll see. I demand that you remove the heathen idol by force and have it buried in the ground where it belongs. I demand it.
Hold it, sir. Well, it's me, Mr. Jeffrey.
I didn't send for you.
I brought him here.
Oh, it's you, is it?
And now, Mr. Jeffrey, I feel it my duty.
Begging your pardon, Reverend, as long as you got me out of bed, let me do the talking, if you don't mind, sir. Now, Mr. Jeffrey, I'd like a bit of an explanation.
Explanation, my grandmother.
Constable, he slammed the door in our faces.
Well, that he did, but what of it? He's broke no law that I know of.
Then come and see for yourself. At the window.
What? Glory be. I see the thing now. It can't be alive.
I don't know. Stone, and yet it was warm to the touch.
It better not be alive.
Why do you say that?
Because, look for yourself. Mr. Jeffrey, he's cutting into her with that bit of iron.
It was good of you to come in and help me, Mr. Elton.
I'm right glad to be of service, I am. I'm glad to be of service, but this is devilish hard rock.
Yes, it is. But we've got to break the statue open, Mr. Elkington. We've got to.
If you say so.
Oh, those fools, the constable and the reverend, they'll be back soon with some new ideas about getting into the house now, won't they?
I suppose so.
But they won't stop me. They won't. I've a chance to do something before I die. To make a big discovery, I tell you. They won't stop me. We'll have the statue cut open before they get here now, won't we, Mr. Elkington?
We'll try, I will try.
Yes. Cut it open and note the secret. Something that keeps that stone warm as if it were flesh. That'll be a wonderful discovery now, won't it?
Oh, that it will.
Faster, Mr. Elkington, faster.
I'll try. Crikey, this stone is so hard.
They mustn't stop us. No. Faster, Mr. Elkington.
Oh.
Elkington, why have you stopped?
It's my fingers cramped. Can't open my hand.
Chisel, give it to me.
All right.
Got to keep working. Got to. I'll know the secret in you, Lionhead. That's the name I'm going to give her, Elkington, Lionhead. The power that's kept the stone in you warm all these centuries. I've got to know that, Lionhead. And I will know it. Have to keep working. Have to keep
Now, Reverend, you can drive a man too far. I tell you...
No, Constable, now we'll tell you. For 24 hours, you've been telling the people of this community that the law won't permit you to do this and the law won't permit you to do that.
Well, it won't.
But we tell you we won't stand by and permit one of our citizens to indulge in heathen madness and not do something about it. Am I right, gentlemen?
Absolutely
right. But what can I do? He's in his own home. He's not committing any public nuisance.
We've gone over that 100 times. The fact remains you've got to go in there and stop him. You've got to.
The hardest stone in the world. They made you
yes. Mr. Jeffrey, I'm asking you, please stop cutting into it.
Please. Of the warmth. Before any of the others know about it. Or they stop me.
Hark! What's that?
Got to keep working.
That sound, Mr. Jeffrey, what is it?
Can't talk to you, Mr. Elkington. Important work.
But, Mr. Jeffrey, the chisel, why did you drop it?
My hand. Like an electric current running through the chisel.
Oh, no.
No, just a weariness in my muscles. Pick up the chisel. Yes. Go on. Yes.
I think I'm going now, Mr. Jeffrey.
No, you stay where you are. You stay until you stay there. If I lock the door for you, they'll come in. And I won't let them in before I learn the secret, you hear me?
That sound, Mr. Jeffrey, it's like something burning. Do you hear? It's been getting louder and louder.
Well, stop. I've got to find the secret of that warmth. 15 centuries of warmth.
Mr. Jeffrey, it's the constable.
I don't care. I don't care.
Open up, Mr. Jeffrey.
Well, you won't stop me, you meddling fool.
Open up, Mr. Jeffrey, in the name of the law. We've got a warrant this time, good and proper.
Warrant? Oh, no.
Oh, Mr. Jeffrey, you ought to really...
No. I'm almost finished. Go away.
We've got Professor Thompson from the museum.
Mr. Jeffrey, I warn you.
No.
Open up or we'll break down the door.
Mr. Jeffrey, I beg of you, please.
No, they won't stop me. But I'm almost through.
I tell you, I'm frightened, I am.
Almost broken through to the middle of my statue.
Oh, no.
I'll find out the secret, and no one else. There. The chisel's breaking through. It's hollow. It's breaking through. In a second, I know. In a second, I...
Help! Somebody help!
Mr.
Jeffrey! What, Mr. Jeffrey? He's on fire! He's on fire!
All right, men, quiet down. There's nothing more we can do. Mr. Jeffrey is dead.
Such a horrible way to die.
It was the lantern. Set him afire, I guess.
No, it wasn't that.
Hey, what say, Mr. Elkington?
I saw it all. A flame come out of the statue.
You're daft, man.
No, I swear it's the truth. I saw it. Professor Thompson, you tell him. What did you see as you came through the door?
There was a flame from it.
But how can that be? Flame from a statue?
And the Romans went down to Egypt.
Professor, tell us, what is it? What is this statue?
The lioness-headed goddess Sekhmet.
Well?
And they worshipped her as the goddess of fire.
Thanks for watching the Baba Ghoulie Show by OTR Halloween Holidays. This is Waddle the Duck saying check out Channel Watchwaddle for some fun cartoons with no static.